Oh, what the fuck? It done changed my fucking. I'm a fucking T Rex. I'm a fucking T Rex. Alright, I'm not gonna lie. I've been avoiding this shit like the fucking plague. What have I been avoiding like the plague? I've been avoiding this shit like I avoided coronavirus. Is actually what I was gonna say. But I've been avoiding this shit like the plague. Whether it be a public statement of some sort or just the simple fact of getting on my computer. I have thoroughly enjoyed having other shit to do besides having to sit here and confront this shit or whatever. I don't want to sit here and ramble to myself. I don't want unless this is consequential, unless this is effective of some sort of consequential or some sort of effective, then there's quite literally no point in me doing this. And that's what the majority of the time, from my perspective, this turns out to be. So I have literally zero desire to to do that. And I would love to be able to preoccupy myself with something other than this. Like, I don't know, maybe go to work, maybe go, go out with my friends, maybe work on my projects, maybe do anything, right? The list of things that need done around my house now at this point is nothing that can be accomplished at this time. It either requires money. Actually, okay, so let me tell you what needs to be done at my house now at this time. There's only two things that need done in my house now: my living room and my personal bathroom. My personal bathroom, I'm not touching. I'm not doing until, even though I want so badly to have my own personal private bathroom again, I'm not doing that until I can have a personal private bathroom. Okay? My living room, I need money to do. Okay? So now, and people wonder why I end up and sit here doing absolutely nothing so often. And it's because they're like, what literally what is my option to do right now? Because I could work on a project, right? Which would be completely like meaningless because I'd be just giving away my research and giving away my, whatever, for free. And slash, or I could work on it for, an extended amount of time or whatever. And the second I click off of it, it's done. It's over. It's already in the past. It's already in the realm of, public conversation, blah 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 blah. Which is also, that's another little side point of saying that the perception that, I start one project and never finish it, and I'm doing five different things at once, and blah 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 blah. That is more a result of the external circumstances than it is on my end, to a certain extent. To a certain extent, because I allow those external influences, to dictate whatever. But the fact of the matter is, like I said, if I were to start a project right now, it would be declared abandoned or a failure before I myself would declare it abandoned or a failure. And I've explained this extensively and repeatedly, which is also pretty much everything I have to say. I have explained extensively and repeatedly, and in every medium, on every platform imaginable. Now I'm in a position, and I don't want any praise or any, whatever, for the fact that my house is now back together. Okay, because this is also something that I've explained repeatedly and extensively, is that that's why my house got to the point that it has had, and why um, upkeep and maintenance isn't being accomplished, because that then opens the door for people to say that I'm only doing it for external validation of some sort, right? And that's simply not the case. That's simply not the case. In fact, it's quite literally the opposite of that. Something else that I want to touch on is that throughout this entire time, and still to this day, there's this perception and I don't know. There's this perception of, that I'm like weak, or if, okay. So if I don't, and I'm not um if I were to do anything else, there is nothing else for me to do right now in this current moment than address this, than to speak publicly or whatever. And I literally, like I said, have been avoiding this shit like the plague. I wish that there was something around my house for me to do. I wish that I could go do something else. I wish that I could go to work, or at the very least, job hunt, or work on a project, or whatever. Those things are not viable options right now. And that leaves me with two options: either sit here and address this again publicly, or literally sit here and do nothing. Those are my two viable options right now at my disposal. Because, like I have said for 6 jobs throughout this entire experience, and will continue to say, I'm not going to work at a job where I'm being lied to and watched and have to deal with all this fucking weird shit, right? All the weird shit that I've had to deal with all around me all the time, right? It's not happening. I'm not doing it. So, and then mind you, if I sit here and do nothing, that's why, I'm sitting here hesitating, going back and forth. Should I say something? Should I type something out? Should I, do a live stream? Should I whatever? And that hesitation, that decision making process that I'm going through, in lieu of doing anything else, because I don't really feel like sitting here watching YouTube. And like I said, there's quite literally nothing else for me to do except to put my laundry away when my dryer is done. So that hesitation period itself then becomes framed as either some sort of like autistic episode or manic fucking breakdown or like whatever. Is Biddy out there? And just like my social interactions are perceived and portrayed and presented as if I'm like some socially awkward autistic person, and in reality, it's literally everyone that around me, or a, uh, at least the large majority, if not, will be extraordinarily conservative and say a few the people around me are being awkward. People are being weird towards me. People are putting me in uncomfortable, socially unnatural, absurd situations, and then I'm the one who's supposedly autistic or fucking whatever. Then I sit here alone in my bedroom, or am around in my house or whatever. And again, I'm the one who is autistic, because I have to sit here with the internal knowledge that I'm being portrayed, and that I'm being uh, presented, to everyone, from a coworker from 5 years ago that I haven't talked to in years, to the list is endless, and I have to try and compartmentalize all of that in the privacy of my own bedroom, um, and either sit here in silence, or try to navigate my way through doing whatever I want to be doing, whether that be working on a project or whatever. And again, if I sit here in silence, it's like some sort of like autistic thing. If I sit here and narrate the shit, then it genuinely comes across as autistic, because I'm trying to navigate my way around all of the weird ass barriers that come across that, or come with that, and that doesn't translate well. Okay, so going back to the perception and the portrayal of me, being weak and like not having the dog in me or whatever. This point that I'm about to make could be applied to a large majority, or a large percentage of every other issue that's on the table. Is I have, again, repeatedly and extensively, um, the for the entire time, the entire duration of this, from the moment I became aware up until present day, um, in every medium possible and on every platform imaginable, to every person that I've spoken to, in every environment that I've been in, and in every instance when it has called for it, I have confronted people directly, and I have called out the people by name who are responsible for this. Okay, and that is responded to with silence. So I don't understand how I'm like the weak one. I'm the scared one. I'm the whatever. But that same mentality, um, that same sentiment, isn't then applied to the people who are actually responsible, and who I call out by name. And I'm tired of calling these people out by name, even if, like I said, right now in this moment, I have such little desire to do this. Not because I myself don't want to confront it, or direct it, or deal with it, or um, whatever, but because they don't. And again, extensively and repeatedly, I have made this point. Now, and at this point, I literally, I, I wouldn't even care. They are not going to accept that challenge. Clearly, I think that's been well established after 4 years. That Colin Gruntman, Devin Kaufman, whatever. Um, I always narrow it down to those two. There are, of course, more, but those two I feel like are the most personally responsible. They're never going to, when confronted directly, they lie. They make me, they tell me that I'm crazy. And again, this applies to many other people, but those are the two who I personally know, not think or whatever, but know to be the ones who are responsible and the ones who spearhead the continuation of this in the um, context in which it is and has been. They will never accept the challenge that that I've issued for 4 consecutive years now, of going one on one, face to face, quite literally face to face, whether that be in person or on a live stream. Um, they're never going to accept that challenge because they can't accept that challenge, just like they can't make the archive that everybody else is presented with open source to at least me. They can't open that up for debate or criticism or uh, rebuttal. So, and even if they would at this point, I truly, again, these are two dudes that I went to high school with, have never had any sort of relationship with, and have met each one time, one of them for 30 seconds, one of them for a few hours, which he himself, Colin, was already stalking me at that point. So at this point, even if they were to accept that challenge, which they will not, they never will, um, it's a debate that I'm not even interested in having at this point. And the situation at hand has become much bigger than that at this point. And I really, it's crazy that I've gone 25 years without being called autistic, schizophrenic, whatever. And I come into contact with these two people, and it gets turned into all of this. Now that's not to downplay or dismiss or um, whatever the fact, everything that's happened. But again, the I feel like they're the ones who spearhead this. They're definitely the ones who benefit from it the most, and they're definitely the ones who are responsible for it in the sense of you know having the like kill switch or whatever. And again, I'm not the one who is resistant to or afraid of confronting that directly head on, um, and going tit for tat. I'm not the one who has anything to hide, and I'm not the one who has to be concerned about legal issues or, um, God forbid, public perception at this point or whatever. Um, and at this point, I just truly don't know what to say or how to go about this because or like what to do like in this particular instance where I'm now confronted with the fact that like I said I have nothing else to do right now, that I think it's been made clear at this point that if I were to go get a job, the exact same stupid ass shit that is played out over and over again will play out once again. And in every instance that this has played out, it's not been a matter of me, like it's been a matter of the infiltration and it becoming the spectacle that this becomes. I've already made the decision. If you look back on the projects that could have been completed at this point, Senile, The Afterlife, um, Black Money, all the remaining 4 parts of Black Money, whatever, the list. That's probably the most cohesive list of like projects that I've really like sunk my teeth into. That's not even to mention all of the, opportunities and inspirations and whatever that, have just been lost in the wind. But now I'm confronted with this scenario where I literally have nothing else to do. I have nothing else to do. There's nothing in my house that needs done or could be accomplished without income, without money. Going to get a job is a pointless endeavor, and so now I sit here and um, my options are to either, once again confront this directly, or sit here and do quite literally nothing. I don't feel like sitting here doing quite literally nothing. There's no point in starting or continuing a project that I'm not receiving any acknowledgement or compensation or, um, it's just being given freely away. Um, so what do I do? What do I do? But sit here and, like I said, I've been avoiding this shit like the plague. I've been avoiding this shit like the plague. And, even developing, maintaining, or entertaining personal relationships to any degree is pointless. The most recent to come to mind, or the only one that I've even allowed to allow, that I've even engaged in back and forth conversation with, is Austin, and he's telling me weird ass shit like the fact that I was sick for 10 days. No, I haven't been sick in months. I haven't been sick since I had COVID. Um, Now I can tell you what that probably refers to. That probably refers to the coughing spell that I had 2 days in a row when I I bought these packs of caffeine gummies and ate them all at once, and for some reason it made me very mucusy and coughing, and once I even threw up. But as far as being sick, that's just simply not true, and I have to combat the social. And again, Austin is a cool guy, just like Brandon was, and just like whatever. Um, and it's crazy that, and I know that the perception is, I just knocked my fucking contact out of place. I know that the perception has changed, and that people have kind of woken up a little bit to the ridiculousness of it all. I know that I'm a funny, entertaining person as I sit here and talk about this while trying to fix my contact. Um, and I'm just at the point where, if I can get my house together to this degree in 1 week with multiple rest days, multiple days of not having Adderall, no money, no resources, no help, and while in the meantime, you know, helping my friend out move and stuff, then could it have really been that bad? And that's a sentiment that I think applies to a lot of the issues on at hand right now. Um, I'm actually kind of glad that getting Adderall fell through. Um, because then I would be up all night with nothing to do. And I want to be doing so much, so much. And I want to be doing it outside of, I want this situation to evolve into whatever it's going to evolve into. And I don't like, I'm over it being in silence and, subliminal and, whatever. This is again something that I've, addressed extensively and repeatedly, that I would rather, my actual name be attached to it, and to, be able to deal with it head on moving forward. That's continuously denied. Um, I mean, I've offered every conceivable, and I did have this realization a couple months ago, and it is one that is crazy to think about. Even the realization that I had a couple months ago was that I could have literally, the idea of going to jail, and like the idea of confronting these two people directly, some sort of like dramatic fucking like whatever, and like ending up in jail and fucking all that shit for two dudes I went to high school with is asinine to me. It truly is. It's asinine to me. That'd be stupid. Now looking back, especially taking into consideration the fact that the death of my grandfather was live streamed and etc. and etc. That it's definitely calls for that. It definitely calls for that, and I could have literally done that, been to jail, served my time, and been out and been on with my life by now. And that kind of plays into like the weakness thing and whatever. Um, but it's like, you know, I'm not the one who refuses to address this directly with my real name and real face and whatever. There are a lot of people who, especially when we're watching this like all this like P Diddy and like shit play out, it's like this could be so much more fun, so much more entertaining, so much more beneficial, so much less, whatever. And there are a bunch of relationships that have been ruined that I know that both parties, you know, didn't necessarily want that to happen. Now, I do have very complex feelings and views on, so-called supporters and whatnot. Um, Getting into that more comprehensively would require a legitimate, open-ended back and forth with somebody regarding, in the confines of like reality and truth. Um, as are there many other issues. There are many other issues that applies to too. I know that people want to see me doing my work. I know that people want to see me um, doing more than just laying here doing nothing. I think that the responsibility, I think that we are beyond the point where it's like it doesn't even like when like the like think about me getting a job. That situation doesn't even like mature and evolve. It's still the same bullshit. People, you know, fucking doing weird shit and saying weird shit and saying, you know, coming at me with these exaggerated fucking ridiculous shit like, "Oh, you've been sick for 6 days." No, I haven't. Type shit. You know what I mean? And I know that people want to see me. I know that people were into my afterlife research. I know that people were into my Tesla shit. I know that people um want to see something other than me just sitting here doing nothing. I know that people want to see, I know that there is a lot of mysticism and uh, intrigue and magical fucking shit that people that is real. There is a reality in that, and somebody on um, Skyfire News or whatever kind of said it as simply as possible and the best at the same time when he said something to the effect of like, there's obviously something weird going on with this guy. We've all seen it, we all know it. And that is true. I mean, it is hard to debate. That's not schizophrenia. That's not, anything of that nature. It can definitely be perceived as such, and it definitely feels like that at times. I could give a numerous list of examples in which that, is the case. And imagine what this could be for everyone except for the people who are just doing gross, weird shit. If it would just be opened up and dealt with, you know what I mean? Because I'm not, I mean, I don't know, man. I I don't know, man. I've broken the chains of like you see, like I'm not gonna be tired for hours. Thankful, like I said, I'm kind of glad that getting Adderall fell through because then I would just be up for hours with either gosh, the issues of consistency, the issues of like following things through, the issues of like all of that stuff aren't necessarily issue or wouldn't be issues with just certain things would fucking change. And for the time being, that's pretty much all I have to say. For any like doubters and skeptics and uh, what word do I want to use to summarize that? Whatever. For any doubters or skeptics or opposition or whatever, I would again simply say, open it up and see what happens. Literally, like a sink or swim scenario, right? Yet that that refuses, everyone else refuses to allow that to be the case. And I think that there's a lot of people who get intimidated and get scared and threatened and bullied into, you know, not wanting to allow that to happen, not wanting to be like a whistleblower or whatever. And my philosophy on that is like, I'm first of all, if once that happens, then the once it's once first of all, I'm the one who should be afraid of that. Okay, I'm the one who should be intimidated and scared and whatever. Clearly, I'm not. And once um that happens, then the chances and the um like potentiality and the whatever of the same people being able to do that to somebody else in retaliation for telling the truth greatly diminishes. Of course, the other motivating factor beyond that is the financial incentive, and then the other motivating factor beyond that is the public perception that has been, presented and portrayed. It's just at this point, I really don't know I really don't know what to say. That what I really don't care almost. I mean, I just really don't care. I just want to be able to move on with my life, and um, that's kind of where we're at. Is I was able to completely fix my house again with no money, no resources, no help, um, with multiple rest days, multiple days without Adderall, and while also at the same time, helping my friend literally move and all of the stuff, all of that stuff. And the only thing that irks me about that, the would be the like I always use the analogy of like a toxic partner or a toxic roommate or whatever. Once they finally leave your house, once they finally leave, then you can like go through and like do everything. The shit could have been done in a week. I mean, in a week, and I've been saying that, that once I'm one thing that was symbolic about it is that obviously I had to get rid of my cats first, and the cats have always been symbolic, quite literally because it started at the exact same time. But it's always been symbolic of like I can't do this with these cats here. You know, I can't do this with a bunch of fucking whatever on my wall. I got fucking a hole in my wall now, and I have that hole patching shit. I don't know where it's at though. I think I think it's much more fun, much more entertaining, much more. I've been said again for years that I think that a healthy hating ecosystem, I think that that's healthy, and that's an ecosystem that I would allow to thrive, for a variety of different reasons. And one that I've just simply just become largely unconcerned, unbothered by, unconcerned with, because all of the circumstances, all of the um, pieces, all of the overwhelming pieces of this situation, I've just simply accepted at this point, fully, truly. Sorry, I have the burps. Fully, truly, completely accepted at this point. The only blockade, the only fragments of a blockade in my way at this point is just simply acknowledgement and um, acknowledgement and um, awareness is not an issue at this point. External acknowledgement of the circumstances in which I know to be the case is people keep saying, I've seen this multiple times, the veil is like paper thin, the veil is like disappearing. The veil, that's been the case for like 2.5 years at this point. It's the repetitive um whatever, the repetitive fucking, I mean, what do you even call it at this point? Truly, again, like when I say I continually and have throughout the entire time confronted people directly, called people out by name, been aware of the circumstances as they stand, and blah blah blah. So I don't know what to do without that acceptance. It's not something that I'm clamoring onto. It's not something that I'm desperate for. I still plan on moving on regardless. although it would be much faster, much easier, and much, again, more entertaining, more beneficial, and more um, just for a large majority of everyone else. Again, I'm at this point. I'm not only am I not um, not only am I not um, resistant to 24/7 access at this point, but again, I would almost prefer it, not because of a craving for attention. Obviously, any inkling of that existed before has diminished greatly, if not entirely dissolved. But just simply because, um, just simply because for the remainder of my life, that's going to be like the internal. It's always going to be like in the back of my head that that's the case in the first place. So it might as well just be made a reality. Some people pose the question or the idea of like why I don't do that myself, or whatever. The answer to that question is simply because you guys choose to pay my stalkers. Oh, and actually, how I wanted to start this was again posing the question, which I have said literally since day one, is like, other than the effects and themselves, what truly has been exposed that I wouldn't openly discuss, that I wouldn't have or wouldn't openly discuss? I was thinking back to this interaction that I had with Jessica. I just remembered this a couple days ago, where I sent her a picture of the top of the computer desk that I had at that time, and it had some of my textbooks and my little glass thing, my rocket ship, and I think that's all that was in there. I sent that to her, and she said, in asterisks, she said exits chat, and then the response that she said, well, okay, so she probably said exits chat, and then she was like, "Oh, I'll be back. Trust me." And I just recently realized that that was some sort of like fucking weird thing that it's you know the fucking weird like multiple people in one conversation bullshit, where it was like she was saying, "Oh, look, like he's whatever." He's got cool shit, because she, of course, was supposedly to my, coming to my defense. I don't think it needs to be said at this point, though I do feel like, though I do want to say it for just simply the last time. Whatever that bitch thought she was doing in terms of like supporting me or whatever, I can't fathom what her justification would be, how she chooses to like, I don't know, because to a certain extent I kind of feel bad for her. I kind of feel bad that, because if you think about like me showing up to Donda, the first time she meeting me in person is at Donda, and but by the time we get to Donda, I'm months deep into manic fucking Cameroon, what the fuck is going on madness. And this even applies to things like the Oasis and whatever. But um messaging her, quite literally messaging her, because it was the the first time I messaged her, before she even responded to me, before she even replied to my first message to her and Colin had already been in communication, and he had already hacked my shit. Literally before she even sent her first response to my first message to her, they were already hacked into my shit. So messaging her was quite literally the worst decision that I've ever made in my entire life. And mind you, the narrative that she tried to play into, as well as Paige, although I don't fault Paige for anything, because I've gone through, all of the messages and whatever. And, I don't know. I don't have anything bad to say about Paige personally. Jessica, I have a whole lot of bad shit to say about. Paige, not really. Not really. And it was her crazy ass fucking husband that, whatever. But, and you can even go back and replay everything I've said, not only in this context, but in the context of, in all expansive. You go back, you replay everything that I've said, everything that I've said, and, it's not crazy. And it's not false, and it's not, but anyways, whatever. That's a little side tangent. But the point that I am making is that, um if you man, that's wild. But the point that I'm making is, the narrative that she tried to like present and portray to the world, as is the case with Paige, but I don't fault Paige for this because I don't think it was her. I don't know I don't know how to like phrase that. But the narrative that they tried to play and what set the tone for all of this moving forward in the beginning, and this was, what was being presented to me from my best friend of many, many years, is that I was the one who was being emotionally abusive, and I was the one who, just like the like desperate like for love shit. Just like the desperate for love shit. I had no interest at all in being in a relationship with anybody, and that was part of the problem with Jessica. Is that God, shit, like, and this is something that I have to deal with to this day. Is that, people act like I'm some like lovesick puppy dog who just want like, and that's just simply not the case. But whatever, this is all dumb. This little section of it is all dumb. But that's how they played it off. That's how they played it off. Is that I was the one who was being mean. I was the one who was being abusive. I was the one who was being, whatever, whatever. Meanwhile, before Jessica even responded to my first message, before me and Colin had ever said one word to each other, they were already in my shit, watching my shit and whatnot. And this is clear in the message archives. I'm sure no, people don't, I'm sure that the access to this is quite limited. Uh, and although they, you know, have interest and incentive to, meticulously archive and document everything and go back through old conversations and fucking bring up shit from a million fucking years ago and whatnot. I don't, and I've lost interest in doing so unless and until I'm either in a one-on-one debate with those people, like individually and publicly. That's always been the stipulation for a one-on-one with them. Mind you, I can't have a conversation without their infiltration and influence on the other end. Yet they refuse and continue to and will forevermore um, decline that challenge of actually going one on one back and forth point by point of whatever issues they have, regarding what I eat and what I drink, in comparison to my grandparents' privacy and my grandfather's death and my mother's bathroom and, et cetera, et cetera. Kind of weigh that out, and they don't really have much to stand on. Not only that, not only in that regard, but then also the vast majority of the shit that is presented and perceived to be issues are, exaggerated, if not flat out lies, and wouldn't stand up to rebuttals, and are rife with omissions and exaggerations and omissions and yada 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 yada. So that's pretty much it as far as all that shit goes. Present day and future, there's a lot of, and even just more like substantial, like even just more like, again, entertaining, important, relevant, there's a lot of shit to dig into. But again, circling all the way back, it's either nothing's gonna change. Not only nothing's gonna change in if I just sit here and continue to like try to do my work and just give away shit for free. Nothing's gonna change if I go get another job. If I go get another job, the same bullshit's gonna play out. That's been made evident. I think everybody's just as tired of that as I am. And I want so badly for this, because I'm the one who has to sit here and deal with like the criticisms of like, refusing to like, or the inability or incapability of like evolving, moving forward, you know, creating something, or whatever, however you want to phrase it. But to me, I said it on Twitter, and I've said this all the way back, including Jessica, but all the way back to the beginning in these Cameroonian days, the Cameroonian days. I sit here and watch these people who are so invested in me, and I sit here and watch these people who are so interested in me, and I sit here and watch these people who have built these parasocial, nonetheless, parasocial but relationships nonetheless, relationships with me and whatnot, and and then this also of course applies to real life family and friends and acquaintances and whatever. But I sit here and I watch them, and I'm like, that we could we could have like a real like rapport and relationship, right? Like, that, like, I don't know, it's just a bizarre, again, that, like I said earlier, when it comes to my complex feelings is as it relates to like supporters and whatever, that would require, in order to properly articulate that would require a more open-ended back and forth conversation with somebody, or at least, what, something, I don't know how to like phrase that. I can't sit here and properly articulate that alone in my bedroom talking to a camera when nobody knows what I'm talking about, and there's not going to be like any sort of responses or whatever. Much is the case, and much has been the case, as it relates to a vast majority of the issues that are on the table. So, with all of that being said, just as I know that there's a lot of like doubt and like, whatever, as it relates to my ability to, to my stability for one, and ability to, you know not only function quote unquote normally, but to apply myself to things which, people think is, outlandish or whatever. Just as I'm not intimidated on going with going one on one with, um, uh, the people who are responsible. Neither I'm not. I'm also not. I'm equally not intimidated with going one on one with somebody like Elon Musk. And that investment and that involvement as it relates to many other, pretty much every other, person who I've ever idolized or looked up to, um, or person who's in some sort of like position to be able, I'm not a charity case, and you know I'm not. I want to work for what I have. I want to build shit up from the bottom and like blah 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 blah. And the ability, the capability, and the stability of required to do so. My ability, stability, and capability required to do so is somewhat justifiably in question and in doubt by a vast majority of the population. But again, that's what I mean when I say if you really want to test that, then test it fully and not under these weird ass fucking circumstances. So this particular session actually does, more so than I thought it would, feel a bit therapeutic and effective and necessary, and more so than I thought it would actually. I gotta pee, and then I guess maybe before I end it, we'll try and get some like reactions or some shit. Like, I mean, I don't know. Anything under indirect. I've said this before. I've got like a 45-second tolerance for anything that's indirect, and but then there again lies my problem, is that what once I end this without any, you know, as I can close as I opened without it being effective or consequential in any sort of substantial way externally, then what would the point be, for one, and then for two, what is my options for what I have to do once I hit end? You know what I mean? Again, either continue working on a project which now at this point people are burnt out on, and that will continue to be the case with anything that I work on um, in real time, which is why I have this long trail of dope ass projects and ideas that don't get completed, um, or sit here and do nothing, or sit here and fucking watch YouTube, or you know what I mean, without it being consequential, without it being substantial. And again, I've avoided this like the plague. But even in doing so, I sit here and that's when it becomes like autistic and whatever. I'm glad that I actually started doing this because, like I said, the hesitation period, um, gets presented and portrayed as everything else. So I'm gonna go pee. I'm not tired. I don't want to sit and watch YouTube. And I don't know what else I'm supposed to do with my time. There's nothing else to do around my house that I can do right now other than put my laundry away when it's done in the dryer. And then I quite literally have nothing else to do. Um, Except for, work on something that I'm just giving away freely, or sit here and do nothing, or engage in a completely fictitious conversation with somebody that is being influenced and infiltrated and directed by people who refuse to have that conversation with me themselves publicly, um, or um, attempt to do something progressive and productive, which is just going to be fucked with before it even gets off the ground. If I fill out a job application before they even view the job application, they're going to be contacted, as history um, dictates at this point. I can get on social media and you know I could listen to a space which is just going to devolve into weird subliminal fucking commentary that aggravates me and frustrates me because of the lack of directness and inclusion and exaggerated and whatever talking points. I can you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense to anybody? So, okay, I'm gonna go pee. I mean, I guess I might be tired in like 2 hours out of boredom, and then what? I go like, you know what I mean? I do want to watch The Matrix. I haven't got around to that. The little bit that I did watch was incredible. I've never seen it in its entirety. I should probably turn my light back on, but I don't really want my light on. Um, so I guess I don't know what we go and try and look at some reactions. That is another persistent narrative that that is, continually like in the public zeitgeist, is that um like, I just won't leave social media. Leave. I just won't, live my life, blah blah blah. But you know what you know better than I do, that that is quite literally impossible. And I don't know. I guess we'll scroll through social media. I guess. I can't imagine. One thing that I do want to say. One thing that I do want to say before I do that is that, do you remember? I would still like to do my afterlife research, and the Y files. I respect the Y files quite a bit, quite a lot. Um, and in fact, I'll even say that, of course, obviously, my grandfather dying was, the biggest. I don't want to say inspiration. That feels weird, but that was the biggest trigger. I guess I should say, into like researching the afterlife and whatnot. But the Y files. Before I say what I'm gonna say about the Y files, they deserve. He deserves credit. His team. Don't get me started on teams, because that is a whole other fucking thing. But his team deserves the credit for kind of triggering or sparking the the motivation into like researching the afterlife and whatnot. Not that that's obviously not the biggest trigger or motivation or whatnot, but they do deserve quite a bit of credit in that regard for his afterlife video. Um, and that is something that I would still like to get into. But I saw that, he did his Anunnaki video last night. I saw it last night, and I instantly kind of felt, some type of way about it. But I still wanted to watch it. I enjoy his content quite a bit, quite a lot actually. And I felt some kind of way about it. I thought it was going to be, I thought that I was going to feel very. I don't want to say bitter, because I rarely feel bitter, although I probably come across as bitter quite often, and that's a justifiable perception, though not entirely um, applicable or whatever to how I truly feel internally. But I appreciate the fact that I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I feel like he left. It's impossible for me to say, seeing everything that I've seen and knowing everything that I know and whatnot, it's impossible for me to not draw a line of conclusion that, my grandfather's death probably influenced that afterlife video when it was posted, like, I think 15 days after he died or something like that. Um, it's impossible to not feel like that was influenced based on everything that I know and have experienced. But I saw his Anunnaki video last night, and I was kind of like overcome with like dread, I guess, almost. I thought, especially when I saw it was an hour long, and I do not mean this offensively, I mean it complimentary more so than offensively, though I guess it could be taken as offensively if this wasn't the intention. But I felt like he left a lot of room for me to continue with my research and to do my research in the way that I want to do it. And I feel like it was very like rudimentary, like very like, I don't know. I thought, I felt like when I saw that video, I almost didn't want to watch it, because I was like, oh great, like here's another topic, here's another project, here's another video that has been snatched out from under me or whatnot. And I left, by the end of it, I didn't feel that way, and I felt inspired to continue with my research. Um, and I felt like he left a lot of room for me to continue to do that. I feel like that was kind of like a nod as opposed to like a snatch or something like that. And I do want to continue with that, just like I want to continue with my senile AI video. Just like I want to continue with my Black Money videos, just like I want to continue with a lot of my research and a lot of my projects, as well as um, original content. Original content is something that I've really, withheld myself from doing just simply because of the fact that whatever I do enjoy like research projects, and all of that stuff, but obviously there's a lot of like original ideas that I have and whatnot. This is something that I get criticized for a lot that I've just had on the back burner and whatever. Um, but I want to continue with all of these things. I don't want to continue with them all at the same time. I don't want it to be, so whatever. And but I'm at this point I am until I can I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna do it like for free without like any sort of like any fucking thing. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I don't know. I just felt like that. I just felt like I needed to throw that in there before I go scroll through social media, which I don't necessarily know. I don't know. I don't know. There we are. We approach that wall where it's just like what can we do that is truly productive and that's not like exploitative and actually like beneficial, and you know what I mean? I mean, I think that I've pretty pretty clearly made that point. Um, and again, we approach that wall where it's like either literally sit here in silence and do nothing, or go scroll through fucking social media to see if there's anything substantial to any sort of substantial like consequential fucking thing of value other than just commentary and reactions from a bunch of like anonymous profiles. Um, that's dope. Um, and I will say, actually, before I really dig deep into really dig deep into to the timeline or whatever, I will say that it has become. I think that it's become. Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel that's. I was gonna say I don't want to like. I don't want to backtrack or hesitate on making the point, but I was gonna say I feel like we have reached a point where not literally where it's I don't feel like literally everything that I see is in some sort of reference to me or whatever, but I don't really know. I was gonna say that in a positive way, where it's like I feel like we've kind of approached a situation, or we've kind of approached a time where I can scroll through social media and not only see references um, to myself. I don't, but I don't necessarily think I'm fully committed to that statement. I'm not entirely uncommitted to that statement, nor have I really. I don't know. I don't know. Because sometimes it's dead ass like that. Sometimes, I don't know. I don't know. Stupid or crazy. Those are the options. You know what I mean? Okay, let's see what we got going on. Let's see what we got going on. Let's see what we got going on. I think spaces are probably like the best example of what I'm trying to say. There is that, if I join a space, it kind of just devolves into subliminal whatever. But I don't know. Let's just see what we got going on, I guess. Um, oh, girl.
I don't know. Maybe I should let it sit for a second. Maybe I should kind of let it simmer, right? Maybe I should kind of let it simmer for a second. But then it's sit in silence or watch YouTube. Oh, I can probably put my laundry away at this point. Hold on. So, I'll put this laundry away. Let that shit simmer for a second. Maybe make a chicken sandwich. I gotta get my hangers that I painted. So see, I like to have all matching hangers, and I ran out. But luckily, that paint. I don't know. I do oftentimes feel like it's probably something that I need to get the fuck over. But oh, here, I think my space has just disappeared. So I think that probably thinks that I'm looking for real time reaction. But so let's just close that out to kind of nix that idea. I don't know why else my spaces would have just disappeared. I'm not. I do have like responsibility and accountability myself to take as well. I think that doesn't translate well most times. But again, since the beginning, I've also said like I don't want to be a victim. So I don't know. I think that a lot of people have been manipulated and shit into being like. I think that the same people who are responsible for all of this shit. I think that they've manipulated and lied to and shit a bunch of people. In fact, I know. I don't think I know, but I think that know a lot of people feel like fucked up because they were lied to and manipulated by the fucking same people. Participated and remained silent and yada yada yada. Yada yada yada. Hong Kong, Hong Kong. There people like in my neighborhood turn on their fucking car alarms or like hit their car alarms all the time. It's so weird. Hong Kong, Hong Kong. Hong Kong, Hong Kong. I don't know, man. I literally don't know. It just seems like a bunch of bullshit that I really just don't know at this point. I just want to move the fuck on with my life. I really, really do. I really, really do. I'm over the shit. I'm over the shit. Before I go cruising through social media, let me make sure that I might make a chicken sandwich too. What? Oh, that's Beatty's. I meant to take that back to her when I came back from the gas station, and I forgot to run that down to them. Well, it's hers. You guys are so mean to her. Oh. I'm like, where the fuck did he find it? Well, give it back. That's hers. Give it back to her. That's something I kind of want to talk about too, though. new girl. Here, I'll put yours in that black basket. Sorry. Sorry, baby girl. No, I didn't even check it actually. laundry's put away, and I even got my dinner cooking. A chicken sandwich and onion rings. Thank you for asking. One more thing that I do want to address is I haven't seen any references to this, but I am sure that I'm sure that the sentiment is probably swirling around. But my mother is not responsible for the state of our house. The state that our house got to, the state that our house has been in. It was my cats that ruined this fucking house. It's the lack of my income that's fucked shit up. It's the the quality of my mother's life has been greatly diminished in many ways because of all of this. But I already know that people are probably like talking shit that like she didn't help me and blah blah blah. She shouldn't have to. I'm her 30-year-old son that's been living here without a job for 8 months and stealing money out of her bank account and fucking yada yada yada. And allowing my fucking cat to have a million kittens and not doing anything about them while they shit all over the house and fucking have people texting her like, what the fuck is going on with your son, and all of that shit. Like, I mean, she's a complex person. She's a complex person with her own like whatever, but it's fucked up. It's fucked up, and she lived a very different life 5 years ago too, 4 years ago too. Pre-Rona and pre all of this shit. She lived a very different life too, and she has lost a lot, and she doesn't even know. She doesn't even know, and there are complexities to our relationship. There are complexities to her personality. She's a person who, it's fucked up. But I do want to kind of just throw that out there. It's not her. She shouldn't have to help me fix all of the shit in this house that's been fucked up and shit. I don't know. I don't know if I want to scroll through social media. I don't know if I want to let it simmer for the night and maybe check it tomorrow. I don't know if I want to check it at all. I don't know. Like I said, my tolerance for subliminal shit and non-consequential shit, non-concrete shit is very short. Very, very short tolerance for that. So I don't know. But then again, the question is then how do you spend the rest of your night? Because I'm not going to be sleepy. I could go to sleep out of boredom after I like eat my dinner. I could watch a movie and go to sleep. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'd rather not. We could be having fun. We could be doing productive shit. But there is quite literally. Oh, I had not lied. There is one more thing. My bathroom, my living room, my bathroom. I refuse to do. If you want to know why my bathroom, this has been one of those things that only makes sense in my head. It doesn't make sense to anybody else. And it wasn't intentional in the beginning, like in the start. The beginning of it was just pure mania and depression and whatever madness as a result of all this shit. But my bathroom, if you want to know why my bathroom looks like a public bathroom, it's because it's a public bathroom and I feel some type of way about it. My living room, my bathroom, those two things need done. I can't do my living room without money. I am not doing my bathroom until it's a personal, private bathroom. And my mother's carpet needs shampooed, which is getting done next week. The afterlife video. I know I started this point at one point, but I never finished it. I started talking about the Y files. I don't know if I want to give it away at this. I don't know if I want to give it away, but I think it's probably more. I think it's probably more worth it to give it away than it is to whatever. Regardless of the reasoning, the blank. If you want to get to heaven, blank. The blank in that my grandfather's quote a couple months before he died. If you want to get to heaven, blank. That was you need to forgive people, or you need to learn how to forgive people. And there are a lot of people. I kind of feel like the eclipse, the solar eclipse. I kind of feel like it did, like it was a restart, a fresh slate. Whatever. Whether or not other people choose to subscribe to that feeling and that idea, for me it was regardless. And um, that's obviously reminiscent. Not starting on my house was before the solar eclipse, but I do feel like without getting too fucking hoopla about it, um, I do feel I solar eclipses have never represented the end of the world, so I don't know where that came from, and that does kind of bum me out that that's what people were kind of thinking and stuff, and it kind of bums me out that people that was so cool, and everybody's reaction on social media was pretty cool. That was a cool experience that we all like experienced, literally like fucking once in a lifetime type shit. It was really cool. It bums me out that the dominant narrative is like don't believe in the magic of the universe, don't believe in whatever type shit. It bums me out that the dominant narrative is like darkness and despair and whatever. Um, but I feel like that was a reset. I saw Beth Bezos, which is his whole own thing that I have is on the back burner. But I saw Beth Bezos. He said that he feels like it was a checkpoint in the simulation. I kind of feel like that too. I like the way he phrased that. But um, I think that I maybe got 2 summer jobs, hopefully, praying. Um, I just, it's all kind of, I just kind of all, it's just kind of all dissolved, all the madness of it, I guess. Um, but a lot of that relies on public perception or public participation, I should say. Unfortunately, um, I just hope that I don't know. Regardless of that, though, regardless of that, it's definitely like a new chapter, a fresh start, a clean slate. I don't. I obviously don't forgive. I can't even say that. I was gonna say I obviously don't forgive. Like the Collins and the Devons, because I don't. I don't really. But I'm just unconcerned and unbothered. I'm just unconcerned and unbothered by them. I am a believer in karma. I've racked my own brain trying to search through. I don't know. I don't know what I ever did to deserve all this madness. I'm sure something. Probably when I was a piece of shit in my teenage years or something. I don't know. I don't want to be Mr. Innocent Victim Angel fucking shit. The fact that I am to the degree that I am is really a result of other people's maliciousness, honestly. I mean, that's not to say that I am fully, but
to the degree and to the level that I am is just purely a result of other people's maliciousness and their affinity for exaggeration and omission and just pure fucked upness. Um, I mean, truly. But, there is shit that I'm responsible for as well. I don't, the point that I'm making there is that um, I'm well beyond the point of like, not dwelling in that. I guess that could work too, but I'm well beyond the point of like wallowing in that. But I'm also, that they'll be like, oh, you forgot this, and what about that, and this and that, and that and this. Again, they'll never do it directly face to face. And the bullshit that I get indirectly through cool people who I like and who I assume, because I can't comprehend that level of fakeness. I truly can't. I cannot comprehend it. I can't understand it. But I can I should rephrase that, but I won't. I'll just leave it there. But the shit that I get indirectly is, again, like if you put it on the scale, it's like you were sick for 4 days, live streaming a stranger's death. I mean, like, monetizing a stranger's death, you know? But the point that I was making about the forgiveness thing is that a lot of fucking people have been caught up in this shit. And I truly do believe that more so than anything else, those people have been lied to and manipulated and shit themselves. In fact, I know that to be true. And so the only thing that I fault people for, that's a complex thing that I can't effectively get into by myself, talking by myself. That's a complex area. But, there are people who I'm over the drama of it all, honestly. I truly am. And I really just want to move on with my life and do my research into the afterlife and fucking have fun and fucking entertain people and fucking learn and grow and fucking all of that. And at this point, in this moment of time, there's very little externally that is contributing to that. I guess one more thing that I did want to talk about is that pre-2020, pre-coronavirus, please remember that pre-2020, before coronavirus, I didn't even have a cell phone, and I would go extended amounts of time very happily without being on social media. Social media was a very distant and diminished part of my life. And the chronically online thing, I think, is hysterical from the people who it comes from and considering the circumstances and blah, 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 blah. Overarching message here is that I just truly, I think that a lot of us are on the same page. I think that the overwhelming majority of us are on the same page. I don't know what that looks like moving forward, but I'd like to find out. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I've got literally nothing else to do right now than eat my food that's almost done. I think it just got done. And either sit here in silence, watch a movie, browse through social media, or freely give away
ideas and resources and shit just for it to be, just for me to be sleepy in a couple hours and for it then to be declared like an abandoned failure that, whatever. So, that's where we are. That's where we are. I think I want to. I think I want to pause. I don't think I want to go through social media tonight. Not because I'm afraid of anything, or whatever. I'll tell you literally the reason why I want to. Why I want to. Just genuinely, just because the subliminalness and watching these relationships that people have built with me, like evolve and whatnot. You don't understand on my timeline. Not so much on Facebook anymore. Facebook is people who I know in real life. It is still prevalent over there, not really to the degree that it is on Twitter, just because Twitter has the anonymity factor still in play. Um, and I've been very selective about who I resend like who I have on Facebook now at this point. Um, but on Twitter with the anonymity factor in play and whatnot, like in that brief little scroll I did, I think I read maybe 5 or 6 tweets. I saw one from Elon Musk that was before I started talking that I think is a positive thing, and then I saw like 4 others. One is this fascinating profile that I don't know what it means. I've been watching them over the last couple weeks and days. I don't know who it is. I don't necessarily understand the relationship that me and this person has, whether that be parasocially or in real life. I watch them go through ebbs and flows of, their own personal experience navigating this parasocial relationship that we now have. I don't understand. I want to take things like that into consideration. And it's and then I want Esky. I'll call Esky out by name. Will from Mars is the other one. I've been watching Will from Mars. I shouldn't have done that, but I already did. But Esky, I don't. That's. I have a very limited but complex history with this person. She was there the night that she was in the space the night that really started the end of working at Hilton for me. She did that funny monologue about Tesla and whatever. We talked in Spaces in the beginning of me doing Spaces. She's always kind of been around in orbit and whatnot. It's a fascinating character, and she says she's like driving and crying. She's like, I'm driving while breaking down, and that's somebody who has been very involved in all of this, to varying degrees and whatnot, but still, there's nothing else that I can do but to take that as like a response and reference and to this, and I don't know how to. Like I was talking about this earlier, but watching the and mind you, it's been like, what has it been, 3 or 4 years of this now, of watching, and I've talked about this again extensively and repeatedly, watching these relationships, watching it play out from my perspective with the anonymity factor, with the stranger factor, someone who I don't know, and with the real life people that I know that I've had relationships with for years in every possible imaginable degree and extent and length of time and duration and blah 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 blah. Watching it play out is so overwhelming because I literally can't reach out. Like it's unbelievably
complex to watch the shit play out again with anonymous people, with people who I truly don't know, with people who I do know, and with people who I do know pretending to be other people. And that's always a factor that I have to take into consideration. And just watching the ebbs and flows of it, and it's like, dude, just talk to me. Just talk to me. Just talk to me. You know what I mean? I don't know how to that the Esky tweet is what made me say, okay, maybe I need to like back off for a second. Maybe I need to give this time because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've attributed that profile to people who I know in real life. There are complexities to it that make me think that that's genuinely not the case. That it genuinely just is some stranger. Um, we have a very limited but noteworthy history together, direct history together, me and that profile. It's an intriguing profile. It's definitely one of the ones that has been the most memorable, I guess I should say. And watching that, there's a 98% chance that that's a direct reference to this. And it's a picture of someone who I don't know crying. And I don't know if they're crying because they feel bad. I don't know if they're crying because they feel, like relieved. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And that's been my timeline and my in-person experiences with people for years now. Is watching them go through these highs and lows and highs and lows. Yo, Wizard Harry. Yo, Wizard Harry. You know how fucking bad, dude. We not gay. Not gay. Not gay. Could have been like that, bro. It's weird. It's weird to watch it play out from my perspective, and sometimes I don't know how to handle it. Sometimes sometimes it's overwhelming to see. So for that reason and that reason alone, I think maybe tonight isn't the time to scroll through reactions. And then that also cancels out um, the possibility for people to say that I'm doing anything fictitiously or fraudulently for reactions or whatever. And that's not, I don't mean that to single out Esky. I'm sure that, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I've watched so many people become so disappointed, and I've watched so many people go through so many cycles of investment, and it's like literally if this fourth wall would just break, we could take the shit to Mars, and you wouldn't have to sit there and like lose faith and be disappointed. You wouldn't have to sit there and feel bad. You wouldn't have to sit there. You could post your memes. You could, everything that you think about me could, come to fruition for a lot of the supportive people. Probably beyond your expectations, to be honest. Um, I just it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. I don't know why Esky's driving and breaking down crying. I don't know what to make of that. And that is going to be the case for the vast majority of the things that I'm going to read on Twitter right now. And it's just going to get me all worked up and whatnot. I think that we're well on the way of this being the case, but I wish that people would just allow me to truly be myself in a real, just truly allow me to be myself and to grow and to fly and to fucking soar and all of that shit, and let the chips fall where they may. I I myself am well on the way of that being the case again. Of course, in a much more evolved way, but also in a much more stunted way. But I hope that's I hope that's the perception. I hope that's what other people are coming to too. Is either like I don't know, because it's not. I don't know. 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 I think my food is done. I'm gonna smoke the cigarette and go eat my food. I do think I should probably stay off social media. I think I should let this monologue simmer. I think I should let people discuss things amongst themselves. I think that tomorrow, I mean, again, anything that's not direct is just not really going to be entirely super useful for me right now. Um, I also do think there's a factor of it in play where there's a large part of this where it is things where it is stuff that you do need to work out amongst each other and with yourselves. Truly, like truly has nothing to do with me. Um, I do think that that's a big factor in not the biggest factor, not the overwhelming factor, but I do think that that's a big factor. Um, I really don't. I'm not sleepy. I'm kind of getting sleepy, but I'm really not sleepy, and I really don't want to just sit and watch YouTube. So I don't know what I'm gonna do after I eat my dinner. I'm glad that I did this though. I really have been putting this off like the fucking plague. But I feel a lot lighter. I feel a lot. I feel. I'm glad that I did this. I'm glad that I did this. I would definitely like for this to be the last time that I do this in this context. Literally talking to myself with no, you know what I mean. It probably is one of the last times that I will do it. I wouldn't be surprised if it is the last time that I do it. Um, without any without any evolution on the other end. Um, I'm gonna eat my dinner. Well, I kind of want to smoke the cigarette first, but and I think my madre is home, possibly. Okay, I do think I think quite possible. I'm not gonna end the stream until I'm entirely sure that I really have nothing else to say. But I do think that that's it. Other than the fact that I need to lose weight, man. I don't like calling myself fat because I don't want other people to look at me and say you're not fat. If you're fat, then what am I? Type shit. But I am like more out of shape than I've ever been in my entire life. I don't want to say I'm fat. I'm out of shape, and it actually is becoming a little bit bothersome for me. Um, I think I got 2 summer jobs that would be pretty dope. I want to get back to working on my shit and other shit. I really don't want to do that under these circumstances, but that's outside of my control. That's kind of just play it by ear type shit. I really do hope that I hope that we can all collectively move on, whether that be truly collectively or separately, whatever. Um, because yeah, I don't know. It's not like overwhelmingly negative and like
crazy, as far as what I see much anymore. Um, I don't know. I feel good. Like I said, I think the vast majority of us are really on the same page, with the exception of, again, watching people like lose faith and be disappointed and like give up on me for things that I'm inevitably going to do in the first in that I'm inevitably going to do. So that's awkward. I I I've never been a person that want I truly have never been a person that wants other people to feel bad. I really have always tried to hype everyone else around me up and shit. And like with that Esky thing and numerous other examples, I don't like to see other people feel bad. And with that, I'm gonna eat my chicken sandwich and put my shorts on because it's hot in this house. My AC is still not fixed, you guys. It broke last summer, and that's ridiculous. I should have it fixed. It wasn't like horrendous last summer, but I don't want to falsely imply that I haven't had any Adderall at all today. I did have two, which is less than I would prescribe. I might add. I took one about 11 o'clock. I took one about 2 o'clock. I don't want that because there's no environment, there's no device, there's no place that I frequent, there's no person that I engage with. When it comes to people, that means either directly or indirectly, meaning either um, um, knowingly or unknowingly. But there's no safe area. There's no safe zone. There's no secrets. There's none of that as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I've been concerned for a very long time. I operate with and have for quite some time now at this point. Operate under the assumption that everywhere I go, every device that I use, every device that's around me, not even that whether it's mine or not, every person that I talk to, again, whether knowingly or unknowingly, everything like there's no so people try it that the it either it goes either way. It's either like I'm oh he's just talking about all these random little details that don't mean anything and nobody cares about, or like he didn't say that or he said this but he doesn't know that so blah 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 whatever. I did have 2 Adderalls today, going on 10 hours, 12 hours ago. Well, 10 hours ago. Um, Less than what I was prescribed for many years by a medical professional. So I really do think I think that's all. I think that's it. My beautiful Biddy, you know better than to do that. You know better than to don't even get those knees bent, girl. Don't even get those knees bent, girl. Sleep, food, and vitamin water has clearly those help, but I've been known this. But I can also go 3 days with a little problem, you know. And now we've reached the point where if I don't end this, I'll continue to try to fill space, um, and it just become like redundant and rambling. So I'm gonna eat my food. I guess watch some fucking YouTube. I guess. Actually, I might try The Matrix. I gotta get the password though, my sister's password for Amazon or Netflix, one of the two. But just because I'm choosing to press end, my camera will still be right there. My phone is still right here. This microphone is still right here, and there's still a camera somewhere over there, a camera somewhere right here or up there, and wherever else, whatever else. But if I don't end it now, I'll just continue to try to fill space with redundant shit. I'm pretty confident that I've said everything that I want and need to say. Probably am not going to check social media tonight. And that's where we are with everything. That's where we are. Another day tomorrow. I wake up and pray for something to do. Truly, I do. Betty, you fucking know better. Just because you. Oh, you're gonna growl? You're gonna growl at me just because you had baby? Here, you do get a chicken. Hold on, baby. Here. Have a chicken. Betty loves the chicken. You probably don't like the sauce, though.
probably don't like the sweet and spicy hot sauce, huh? Sweet chili hot sauce, you don't like it? Go ahead, baby. I know you want it. You want to growl because I don't pet you? There you go. You love the chicken. You love the chicken. You love the sweet chili hot sauce. Okay. I'm really gonna go now. And I can turn my light off. Wait, first we gotta make sure the bitch saves, because one time it got deleted. I'm pissed. It should, I know that. Oh, we have a watcher. Hi, watcher. Hi, viewer. Love you.